5 tips to get the most from your seamless paper. All right, welcome back to Capture School. My name is Nick Pappagallo. I'm here with Scott. Welcome.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to talk about some awesome tips for getting the most out of your seamless paper like we have up in the studios here.
Most people have in their studios.
Right?
Yeah. So you like the seamless paper, but you don't want to keep buying it if you don't have to. So
it can last years. If you treat it properly, it can last years. It's not inexpensive, but if you treat it poorly, it can get very expensive.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. The biggest thing is when you're rolling your paper out, roll out the right amount of paper. Don't pull out the whole room.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need more than if you're going to, you don't even need to pull it out onto the floor if you're not going to shoot full length.
Yeah.
I see that all the time. People pull out 10 feet across the floor and they're shooting from the waist up.
Right here, just headshots.
I don't understand. So, but if you are.
Oh, well, I understand. They're not paying for it.
Yeah. So you want to roll it out just far enough for the model to stand. Anything in front of that you don't need.
Exactly. So if you're doing headshots, just drop it down to like knee level and then shoot. So you don't need to pull that whole sweep out like you see on the screen there.
Yeah, yeah, that's just, if you have to, if you've got people in front there, then you have to pull it out, but it's actually pretty rare.
Now, another thing I see is where they pull it out, say 10 or 15 feet, and they'll stand the client or model all the way close to the edge, right by the
where it
curve.
curves. So the paper's wasted. Why is it out
Well,
there?
there's feet prints right there now. When you roll it back up, you have feet prints 10 feet in.
Yeah, makes sense. But anyway, so
All
yes,
right.
that'll make it last longer.
A little bit. You don't have many pulls here. There's not a lot of pulls.
Yeah.
So tip number 2 is only walk on the paper when necessary, and not with your shoes.
Yeah, yeah. Typically, when I'm setting stuff up, I just kick my shoes off if I have to go on the paper, or walk around it.
Yep.
Often, and most of the time, when there's a model or the subject, whoever that might be, goes onto the paper, wipe their shoes off.
Wipe their shoes off. So there's a few little sub tips here. Wipe their shoes off.
Yeah.
Jim told me one too. He puts duct tape on the bottom, so now it's a slippery surface, not a rough surface. Or we use the little doctor's things that you can put over your shoes.
Yeah.
So if you do have to walk on, you put the little doctor, what are they called?
The booties.
Booties?
Yeah, clean room booties, that kind of thing.
So if you're doing headshots and you have to stand someone on, they can wear them. They're out of the shot.
Yeah.
You can
or if
pull
you're
them
doing
off.
3/4 shots, yeah, saves the paper.
Exactly. So that'll make it last a lot longer.
A lot longer.
Not grit between it, doesn't put holes in it, everything
Grinding
like that.
dirt, scratching it, tearing it.
All right. So tip number 3, we've done a video on this before. Use the leader bars by Savage.
Yeah, those Savage leader bars, those are pretty trick little things.
So we did that night, the night we made the video. Who knows how long ago that was? Probably 9 or 12 months ago.
For a while.
We did a whole video on these. We put them all in the whole studio that night.
We did.
And we haven't cut the paper since.
No, we haven't. No?
We were cutting the paper like weekly before that. So what is it? Tell them what it is.
It's just a simple little aluminum clip. It's 2 pieces. And you slip the edge of the paper into there and just snap it shut. And it does several things, actually.
Yeah.
It creates a weight. If you're only coming down part way, the paper hangs nice and straight. It doesn't want to curl back up on itself.
Yep.
When you do sweep it onto the floor, it keeps it from rolling back up, and eliminates a trip hazard.
Yeah, they're really worth the extra money.
Yeah.
And it's not disposable like the paper. You keep that. You buy a new roll, you clip it on.
You clip it on the next roll.
Yep.
Or if you do have to trim it because someone tears it further back, you clip it back on again.
I love them.
Yeah.
They're really indispensable. And I believe if they're still doing the same promotion, it comes with a free roll of white paper.
So here's what happens if you don't use them. You get paper like that. That was in our studio before we used those.
That was that night. We cut it that night when we did that video, and it was trashed. We had duct tape, we had regular tape. Every time you'd put these clips on, it would rip it more because the weight of the paper would go down and up.
Well, yeah, because you need now a weight. So you use the little 8 clamps as a weight.
Yep, and you'd have this rip that would constantly go up the middle.
So you replace all of that, all the tape and everything else with this leader bar. All the problems go away.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Yep. So tip number 4, storing your paper properly.
So yeah, a lot of people. So oftentimes we have paper that sits on the rolls. But what's interesting is that I think you've moved to, on some of them, is using the aluminum tube.
Yep, so this one is aluminum tube on the bottom there. So you can put this on your paper. You can either unroll it all, tape it back on, or slide it in certain rolls, and that keeps it nice and straight on the racks when we have racks. So we don't take our paper down.
Right.
We're fortunate to live in Arizona where we don't have a lot of humidity in the studio.
Right.
Other states get humidity, so they start to sag down, and you'll get a lump in the middle.
Yeah. So I think it's important to know when we use these rack systems that there's just a clip on either end that goes in only maybe about this far.
Yep.
So the rest of it's unsupported. So these aluminum tubes, where do you get these aluminum tubes?
From Savage.
That's a Savage product as well? Okay, so then that just slides in over the cardboard tube or inside the cardboard
We
tube?
haven't done it that way. We took our vinyl off and then taped it onto the
And
aluminum
re-rolled
tube,
it?
but I believe it does fit in some of the tubes.
Yeah.
That you can put it inside to support it.
Yep. So, and if you are just going to use like a paper stand and you're going to take them off and on all the time, the manufacturers recommend that you store these things vertically.
Correct.
So there's some tools out there. I mean, you can just prop it up into the corner, put it back in the box that it comes in and prop it in the corner. That's fine. They've got something like this, which
Much better.
which is really nice. And I believe the way you work these is that the paper actually sets either just on the floor, so the weight is actually not on these. They don't really hold the paper.
Yeah.
They just keep them from tumbling over. So
Yep.
really cool thing. You can see some of the space in there. So yeah, just set them on the floor and you put these things on the wall.
So yeah, storage is a big part of keeping them from warping.
Yep.
You don't want to leave them in the angles either. So tip number 5
Is
combine different colors and widths of paper for a creative look.
yeah, I thought that was so if you get paper and it starts to get a little worn in places, you don't have full roll, bring down a roll of one color.
Yep.
And then just put a stripe across it.
Yep. Yep.
Reuse the paper it's like recycling.
Yeah.
Just reuse it.
Yep. Definitely.
We've done that in the studio. We did a public shoot one time where we brought that in and we rolled down a really wide roll of blue and took a narrow roll of red and just put a slash
Striped it across. Yeah,
Yeah.
we were just playing around and stuff. So
Yeah, it's just a good way to keep using the paper.
yeah, so definitely get creative with your shoots and
Yeah.
reuse it. We've seen all kinds of other creative stuff. People ripping through it. People doing all kinds of stuff where you're just crumple it up.
Yep.
So don't always throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. And there's more uses than perfectly smooth, with no seams.
Exactly.
Yeah, starts to get a little grungy. Punch a hole through it and stick a model through there.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think those are your 5 tips. We'll let you guys go. And if you have other tips, be sure to put them down below. We love you guys watching the show here. Let us know what you've done before, what works, what doesn't work, and how you save that paper. We'll see you next time.